Being a full-time creator can be incredibly isolating. Like, I don't have coworkers. I used to, and I'm not gonna hold you, I didn't necessarily care for that lifestyle either. It was just different. It wasn't my favorite thing, my favorite environment. So don't get me wrong, there were people at other jobs that I have had that I liked, but they weren't my kind of people. They were people of those environments, and I was definitely not a person of that environment. And so now, being a full-time creator, being a full-time entrepreneur, I don't have coworkers. I don't have people that I talk to on a regular basis. I recognize that I need to do a better job of building a community for myself. And I've had the idea so many times to do like creative co-working sessions and things of that nature. And I haven't put the energy into making it happen because I'm like, with what time? My time already feels very stretched and thin. So like to add something else feels almost impossible. But I do recognize that I need to do better about that. So I'm getting ready to go to the Webby Awards Creator Weekend. This is the second annual one that they have done, and it is my first time going. I try to prioritize going to things like this because you just never know who you will meet. It is truly always my hope to meet somebody that gets it, because like I said, it can be very isolating. Like, I joke all the time that I have staff meetings with myself, but I'm not kidding. I be really in here talking to myself and going through ideas, trying to figure things out. And yes, there are sometimes times where I call people that I know. I'm not like completely isolated, but it is very much different than previous seasons of life where I had actual coworkers. I think that is one of the things that is the hardest. There's a part of me that's like, yay, I don't have coworkers, because some of my past coworkers were nightmares. And then there are other parts of me that are like, dang, it would be nice to have like collaborators on certain things. Like right now, for example, I'm working on curating the details for a screening that I'm hosting this coming week. And I would love someone to bounce ideas off of, someone that I could talk to and be like, okay, hey, what do you think if I invite this person and this guest and curate this part of the experience? Like, that would be so nice to be able to like bounce ideas with someone. It is time for me to replace my concealer because this is definitely almost gone. Something that people may also not know is how much effort it takes to get ready for things, like to get ready for events and to do the things. Like, the amount of maintenance that I do per month for the aesthetic that I achieve, which I personally don't think is like super high maintenance, but it's quite a bit of maintenance. And it's not, I mean, I've tried to figure out ways to make it a little less expensive, but it's not cheap and it takes a lot of energy. There are some days where I just don't feel like putting in any effort and I high key look like a bridge troll. And sometimes that's the best I have. Like, literally the other day I was getting dressed and everything that I put on my body just was not fitting right. It wasn't looking right. I even tried to go back to previous outfits that I know that I loved, and those didn't work. I was just having a day where I was like, you know what? This is the best we have today. And so there's a lot of effort that goes into things that people may not think about when you are a full-time creator. Like, when I'm filming, I like to have a certain aesthetic for what I'm filming, because when I look at that content back, it's not even just about the people watching. It's about me. I be watching my own content back. And when I watch the content back, I want to feel good about how I looked on camera. And I think that that's maybe a little bit of a downside of this work, because I'm constantly looking at myself. I'm constantly hearing my voice. I'm constantly critiquing myself, whether consciously or unconsciously. That is a thing. Like, look at my eyebrows. These little caterpillars, we got to get these things under control, but I haven't had time to go get my eyebrows done because it's just been insane. This is what the final look is giving. I added a jean jacket because it's gonna rain, and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna get cool, because you just never know in New York, you know what I mean? It looks better without a jean jacket, not gonna lie. And I have on some yellow sunglasses that aren't really sunglasses, but they're just yellow, so there's that. Let's make our way.
If you are not creating on Patreon, please come up to anybody who works at Patreon in the room. There's a bunch of us here today, and we will tell you all about it, and you'll probably walk out with a Patreon account at the end of the day. Two of my favorite creators. We have Julia Hava and Chris Clemens. They have both done an absolutely incredible job of engaging their audiences and building something very, very special with the media that they have on Patreon, but all over the internet. So we are very excited to talk about what it means to build a podcast and to find discovery within this very, very crowded landscape today. So excited to kick off the conversation. My first question is, can you tell us a little bit about your individual podcasts, and why did you decide to create a podcast versus other content mediums? And then when did Patreon enter the picture for your and what it means for your business?
Yeah, so my podcast is called Bingetopia. It's a cultural commentary podcast. We've actually been on Patreon since almost immediately after we started the podcast. I'm sure you agree, like a podcast is kind of a natural outgrowth of like already being on the internet. So I had, been posting on Instagram. That was back when like everybody had a meme account, and that was what I was doing. And then I created a podcast and pretty quickly knew that Patreon was like a great platform to monetize that, especially if I didn't want to do ads on the actual podcast, because that is a lot of emotional labor to do ads, and Patreon is just fun. So we built our Patreon audience alongside our podcast audience, which is really cool.
I love that. So you started your Patreon at the same time as you started your
Almost,
podcast?
yeah, almost at the same time.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
with bonus episodes and, putting out bonus content on the website.
This is where it goes downhill. I have a podcast called Chris vs. the People. I started a podcast before this one because it was the pandemic, and I thought, how could I make my workload even bigger? But Chris vs. the People, I take live calls from listeners, and they tell me stories that, like, each episode has different themes, so I've heard it all.
Like some sort of commentary there, it's like, why do people care? You know what I mean? So we leaned into that in a way that's like, we're the hottest people on earth. And then when we were doing the boyfriend-girlfriend bit, like we packaged it in a way that's like very influencer-y, like kind of vlog style.
There's a specific influencer voice we were going for in those voiceovers.
And that's how the Ash has this giggle do it. That's kind of how that was born. It just evolved over time.
The upstairs area is absolutely beautiful. So far, I've had the opportunity to listen to 2 different panels, and they both were a lot of fun. I learned a lot from the first panel, especially there was a really relatable part of that panel where one of the panelists was talking about how difficult it can be to create long-form content and to get people to pay attention. And as I've been making this vlog, that's something that's been on my mind. Like, what is going to make people want to listen to this whole thing? Because our brains have unfortunately been wired to take in so much short-form content. So I really did enjoy that panel. And then Twink and a Redhead were definitely the entertainment of the hour. They performed 3 of their own original songs, which was so much fun and definitely brought around a lot of laughs.
Do something that you love, or you work for a job where you can use your skills, it's never what you really want. It never feels right. And so I just had that tug. If this was when social media really first, like when you first did your first jump, it's around it was around that time, and it was just because I didn't belong, bro. Like I didn't belong anywhere. I felt like I was really good at being a chameleon. Like I could kind of work my way in any environment and fit in and be accepted. But internally, I was like, I don't belong. This isn't me. And so creating made me feel like, okay, this is me. And even when it wasn't popping off and it wasn't being received that great, it made me feel like this is me and this is gonna make me feel good. So that then turned into like, okay, I'm gonna do this. Like at first it was just like, okay, this makes me feel good. And then it evolved into, you know what? This makes me feel alive, and like this is why I'm supposed to be here, and I'm gonna inspire other people to do the same. So that was the core like origin of that.
The team who sent out the invites for the Webby Awards Creator Weekend really ate. Y'all ate that right on up, because this has been one of the most diverse events that I think I've been to in a very long time. Because I make a lot of content in the theater space and arts and culture, unfortunately, a lot of those spaces that I inhabit are often not diverse. It's usually all white and me. And I don't mean diversity just in the sense of race, but diversity in the industries that people make content in. Like, I was meeting all kinds of people that do all kinds of things, and that was a really exciting space to be in. So that was honestly curated to perfection. Tomorrow, I'm really excited about the Black and Viral panel that's going to happen. That I saw the title of that. I was like, yes, please. I want to be all up and through there for that panel. Off the top of my head, I can't remember the other ones, but there was definitely one that I think was called Live from New York, something about the new late night. Oh, all over that. Definitely can't wait to be at that one as well. I had a whole meltdown before I left the house this morning because I am exhausted. I am so tired. I feel like I am working so hard to try to keep my content creation business up and running. And it was just nice to be in a space with other people who could relate to what I'm feeling and who could relate to what I'm going through, because ultimately the economy being in the place that it is unfortunately affecting Black creators in a different way. There are some people who are still winning in this economy, and for some of us, it's not the case. And so it was nice to have conversations about that and think about what solutions to this problem could be. I am very excited to go back tomorrow, and I need to figure out what my outfit is going to be. Hopefully it's not raining because the weather was absolutely disgusting on the way home, but I'm definitely going to throw a fit because the fits showed up. You hear me? The fits really showed up and out. All right. So with that, I will see you in the morning.
That brings in new people for me. This brings in new audiences, new engagement, new this, cool. Then you have stuff that's like your diehard people. It doesn't necessarily get you new followers, but people who rock with you love it, right? And then you have stuff that just doesn't perform well at all, but you loved it. I'm sure we've all worked very hard on something that just didn't resonate. It's like, damn, y'all ain't, did y'all see it? They didn't care. But you used it, you know what I mean? And for me, I feel like that's enough. I always tell people, doing it for you and enjoying it has to be enough, because nothing is guaranteed with any of this, especially when we talk about all these changing algorithms, all the things. You need to just enjoy it.
Obviously, it's hard to pitch that to a shareholder if you're a marketer, but that's the biggest thing we've seen, because brands are coming to us for stuff. They're like, how do you get attention? Yeah. But it's like, that's not what you're trying to do, right? Especially like B2B companies come to us and they're like, oh, we want a big stunt. It's like, no, you want people to purchase your product. Yep. And the last thing on attention is like, we as a culture and as creators, like, we think things have to be the way they are because that's the way they are. But like, you can stand up in the middle of your talk. You can hang up flyers, right? Like, you can do dumb things. You can tape $1 underneath every seat in the audience. Like, you can do dumb stuff. There is $1 taped underneath all of your seats. There's $1 taped underneath all of your seats.
Are you being serious? I'm rich.
Oh, for sure. But I work with a brand. Of course, I'm not going to say the name, but I remember going through 1,000 briefs. It was easy for me to do what I do. I know what I'm doing, clearly. And they're there, and paying very well. But the issue was, after completing it on this very short amount of time that they gave me, they came back and called me a parody to my own community, which was really heartbreaking, and I've never partnered with them again. And yes, they have reached out, but it was so, just sitting on a call, and they tell you you're a parody to your Latino community. What? And I was basically doing, I'm not gonna go so into it, but I was doing content, being the extra Puerto Rican that I am, New Yorkian, and they just didn't get it, I feel. And then they came back around and said, you know what? Actually, you were wrong. So I was kind of like upset that, I had to reshoot everything, and then they went with the original content. But they did pay me more, so that was great. But for that moment. But then I just broke ties, and I feel like that's disrespectful. That was very disrespectful, and there was no heart there. So I knew that this was literally like they were using me. It was just one of those moments of, I'm not going to build with them anymore. It's not going to continue on.
But I think truly as that's why I'm saying, like, just start making content. Like, literally 6 years ago, I was a hostess at Soho House, and now I'm, like, giving a rose to Timothy Chalamet. Like, but it's because you can't chase the interviews, you can't chase the celebrity talent, because then your content's not going to be good. You gotta remember the heart of your show. So it's like, for me, I still want to matchmake people on the street, whether we have 20 billion followers or whatever, right? Because that's what I'm excited about. Of course, I love seeing celebrities. I grew up watching like E! Every night. Like, I love that. Anyone would love that. But you have to balance it and make sure it is the show. So we'll always be talking about confidence dating, whether you are a big celebrity or not, because that table, again, to me, is an equal playing ground. It doesn't matter where you go, who you're from, where you are, whatever it is, I'm going to ask you the chaotic questions.
I am back home from the Webby Awards Creator Weekend Day 2, and honey, my office looks like Madame Horrible has been all up and through here. Okay, I thought about showing you, but I can't because I have pride. Literally, this is a mess. I need to hire a TaskRabbit and have someone come in here and help me organize this, because what ultimately happens is when I get dressed, I am pulling out everything to try out everything. And I'm like, oh, how would this look with this? And then I don't end up putting it back. And a lot of it does not fit in my closet. So sometimes it finds its way on my couch or on the floor or on my desk chair. It is truly frightening. So I'm going to spare you the horror of what this office looks like. But I did want to come and talk about the Webby Awards Creator Weekend. I had a really good time. I feel like day 2 was also really good. I think I had the best day on day 1 in comparison. I think a lot of people were away because it was Mother's Day today. And so people were off celebrating with their moms, their aunts, their sisters, all the things. And so there were less people there today, but it was still some really good panels. I think my takeaway from today was about ownership. And I might have talked about this a little bit yesterday, but one of the things that I want to personally work on as a creator is building things of my own. When I post content onto Instagram, onto TikTok, and other platforms, I'm building up those platforms with my existence. I'm not exactly building my own creative empire. And so I've been really thoughtful this weekend about, well, what does that look like to build your own creative empire? I really love going to things like this because I have so many ideas now, and I have a new sense of inspiration and motivation to do this because I am thinking about the long-term picture, the longevity of having a career as a creative, and it is worth the time, sacrifice, energy, and resources to build something of my own in order to ensure wealth. Wealth in this context is really important to me, especially being a Black creator and just being a Black woman, a Black human being. I want to make sure that I can build wealth for generations to come after me. And in order for me to do that, this is something that I need to prioritize in my overall strategy of what I'm doing as a creative. You know, there's always this kind of thought that, like, if you're an artist, you have to suffer, you have to starve. And if you know me, you know I've said for years that no artist should have to starve. Like, there's no reason why you should have to be broke because you're doing what you love. How about we be wealthy and do what we love? That sounds much better to me. That is much more in alignment with who I am as a human being. And so that is what I'm going for. This year I was nominated for my very first Webby Award, which was really exciting. I was nominated for a project that I did with Founded by NYC and NYC Tourism for a series that was celebrating New York's 400th birthday. I got to work on this series. I was a host for the Arts and Culture episode. And it really meant so much to me that I got to work on that project because I got to showcase all of the things that I love about New York City when it comes to arts and culture. I got to visit and talk with people from the Public Theater. I got to visit and talk with people from Hamilton Musical, which is obviously one of my favorite musicals. I got to go to the New York Cafe and the Museum of the Moving Image. It was such a beautiful day. And I feel like it really captured a good glimpse of what New York City arts and culture have to offer. So yeah, your girl is a Webby Award nominee. Hello, hello, hello. And the creator journey continues. I need to get my life together for this week because there is so much going on. While I was on my way home, I edited a video that I filmed today where I asked different creators what their biggest piece of advice for creators would be. And so I edited that. That is up now on Instagram and on YouTube. I didn't post it on TikTok, so eventually it will be on TikTok, but I edited that piece of content and I really hope that it helps someone because I often feel like I personally need advice and sometimes I don't know where to get it from. And so hopefully that resonates with people. I'm really proud of that piece. I love how it turned out. And so now my plan is to edit this vlog and hopefully get it up by tomorrow before the actual Webby Awards. We will see how that goes. If you enjoyed this vlog or if you have things you would like to see, I would love to hear from you because I want to know if this resonates, if this content style that I chose, if you like it, if it's something that you enjoy watching, definitely let me know in the comments. If you are not subscribed, make sure you tap that subscribe button so you don't miss when I upload a new video, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye.